I wouldn't have chosen those poems for the people to read. So Colin and Lish, thank you very much. I re-enjoyed them. After you've written poems and don't you find you just leave them, that's the end of that, and you're doing new ones now. It's nice to hear some oldie ones again. Thank you. Okay, Lish, Lish needed someone to do this retrospective, and I elected to do it. I said, I'll do it. And I said, I'd like to do Lish. Because when I first, I'd like to do Lish, that's an entirely different, please erase it from the tape. But what, other than that I would like to do Lish in this manner from her books. I had her books, so I was able to just look at them. I first met Lish, she was doing a gig with Paul, she had two little kids running around her feet, and it was in Belgrave, it was the Red Room, it was downstairs, and I thought, this poetry is just brilliant. I was hobbling, I couldn't walk at the time. I was in a state of ill repair, and so I was really blown away, and I searched for Lish to see more of her, and now I'm reading her. And this is from Breath. Hurricane Heart. This road is too long. Bad memories lurk in my shoes, twisting my ankles, ripping concrete. I hide under a kooky hat, scooping heels hollow, shortening the distance, stumbling into a dance. Life is a hurricane in your kitchen, a wet foot without shelter, a time of sacrifice. It's easy for me, second nature, but I make things difficult through fear. If asked to go back to the beginning, I wouldn't know which one these hands have thrown and caught stones in return, leaving places, people where I found them. Feet have trod the miles alone, bluey on my back, guitar in hand under gravel sky or blue dome. My childhood belonged to someone else. Thank you. So I've also seen Lish do some fantastic singing. My favourite one of those was at Eltham at the courthouse readings, and she was all in black with a guitar player accompanying her. Sorry?
Is that with the music?
With the music. And
Yeah.
He was great, and you were great with him, and I've been waiting for you to do that again. What's going on? You did each other well. Okay, childhood. This one poem's called I Cry at Happy Endings in Kids' Films, wishing I was still innocent, realising innocence was something other kids had. I knew stupidity, shame, singing under the plum tree by the creek with the dogs. The world held my fear 2 steps in front, only stories to hide in, flowers to grow. I've read through these books several times and read through each poem I chose several times, and in the car I thought I'd read through the book again, and then that's why I've chosen these poems. They weren't part of the choice. This is called I Am. I Am. Little boy charges daddy with his laser. In the name of the Lord, in the name of the Lord. He doesn't know about religious wars. Whose Lord? Your Lord, in the name of the Lord. Runs through the house, laser beam aloft, plunges on sister, in the name of the Lord. Wrestles with dad, in the name of the Lord. Races around mummy, in the name of the Lord, I'm gonna get you, in the name of the Lord. Giggling, squealing, in the name of the Lord, sister says. The Lord doesn't have swords. Boy says, I am the name of the Lord. Now, as I talked about the twins running around her feet when I first saw her, this is called Afterbirth. Half an hour after I gave birth to twins, my cousin Fiona called and said, "I thought you'd like to have a chat." I was vague, dumbstruck, still trying to come to grips with having not one but two babies. She talked, I listened. I don't remember anything I said. I don't remember anything she said either. A nurse led me into the infant intensive ward. I saw my two babies, small, tubed, wrapped up in their incubators. Didn't know whether to cry or laugh. 2 doctors and 4 nurses pounced on me. A chair was pushed under me. 2 babies were put on my nipples at once. The doctors and nurses all talked about squeezing nipples, different types of sucking actions, my baby sucking my nipples, 4 nurses staring, still talking, telling me my babies were healthy, just small, then commenting on the size of my breasts, telling me how much bigger they were going to get. I was horrified because they were already melons. One of the nurses made a joke about instant weight loss, then reassured me that breastfeeding will make me thin again in no time. I thought, already they're talking about weight. It felt strange not to have a belly after all those months. The twins were put back in their incubators, their tubes reattached, heart monitors on. I was led to bed, told to rest. I snuck back to the ward, sat between my babies, studying their faces and small hands, reading their name tags over and over, monitoring the temperature of their incubators. Then my maternal instinct kicked in. I was excited by Kendra's first shit until it kept on going. And Tyrrell's purple left foot. The nurse who took me to my room earlier came in. She escorted me back to bed, offered me some pills, lectured me about the importance of resting, wagged her finger at me and told me not to sneak off again. I slept for an hour, woke up, snuck back to the ward, was eventually spotted and taken back to bed. I did it 8 times. Forcing myself to stay awake, I had to make sure everything was real. That night, my doctor came in, asked me how I was feeling. The room was spinning. I told him I was a bit tired. He said, "Why? It's all over now." This is sort of the thing about parenting, about being a greenie, but also being realistic. And I sort of liked this idea of the child being very sensitive and you sort of going, I honour your sensitivity, but I really need the wood. Okay, I think that's what you should call it. The redneck in me is what it's called. The tree was whispering, "Mummy." Now it's cracking. My whisper tree is falling to the ground. I look at my daughter's eyes full of tears. I felt guilty. I'd been eyeing the good logs, thinking about their many uses, including the fire pit. "I can't look anymore or I'll cry," she said. My greenie heart began salvaging pieces of the tree, branches falling, chainsaws whirring, my little girl smiling, saying, "Good, Mummy," while the redneck in me was thinking, "Yep, this'll burn nicely." Now, I chose this following poem because we have a place in the country with lots of haystacks, and we get a lot of haystack cats. It seems farmers put cats at haystacks and just leave them there, and they eat the mice. And sometimes they come and find us, and this reminds me a lot of them. The 7th cat didn't run. Our first cat was Sylvester. Paint a white streak down his tail and Pepe Le Pew would arrive, flowers in paw. He stalked the neighbourhood every day. One afternoon he disappeared. Our second cat was Zebedee, skittish and playful until the truck hit her. The third was Florence, lawn mower. curled up in cupboard, any warm place. One morning, she woke up, number 4 was a star called Flight. Sorry, I didn't pause. Number 4 was a star called Flight, able to leap great distances from extreme height, all 4 limbs outstretched like a bird. One afternoon he climbed too high, slipped in the rain. That was the end of Flight. Dougal, number 5, decided he wanted a new family. Mr. Bungle left with my eldest brother. Freya never left. The cat with crystal ball eyes still gazes at me each morning, sitting in the doorway. She didn't run. She didn't die. This one's called Glass Angels. And I wrote notes, but this is hospital where a mother died and where a father's sick. I've got to get away from these glass angels, walking the red track to the same ward where Mum met her maker, up on the 9th floor. Dad's on the other side of the ward, lightly shaking, telling the doctors not to worry. He's here for them to test, like he's doing them a favour, his voice lightly lifting from his body, an octave at least. I think about the other side, where the past greets you as you walk by and the sterile air makes you sick with death memories. My 4-year-old twins are looking out the windows asking about chocolate factories and why does Granddad have a bracelet. He walks a rickety boat with no tide, announcing to the nurses, some from 7 years before, that he is going for an excursion to the coffee shop on the ground floor. Okay, I'll read just 3 more, I think, and this is called Don't Forget. Want to throw my voice at ya? Sing! With cats on a fence in the back alley, sweet, sweet, sweet thing. Want to step on your toes, get a rise out of you, see that spark flaring in your eyes, makes me crazy. Want to hold you till our cores meld, get lost in you, drink your breath, smell your essence, want to be near your uncomfortable silence, listen to you, body shift and roll in a chair, watch you from the corner of my eye, share our barefoot dreams, want to love you till I'm old and sore, sit on a stump in a cow paddock with the next generation. I just got to love you, haunt you when I'm dead, can't let you forget me. I chose that poem. I liked the subject, but I also liked the difference in tone of a poetry. It was a different sort of poem, a different rhythm, and I liked the rhythm. This is called Onion. He said, "Can I rub your shoulders?" She glared at him, shoving papers in his apron. A bird flew past the window. He said, "Can I touch your onion?" She threw one at him. Another bird flew past the window. He lay laughing on the floor and she said, "Can you grate a beetroot?" Another bird flew past the window. She stroked his hair. He rubbed her shoulders. They both grated the beetroot and he touched her onion. Here's a poem for Paul. It's called Tumbling Fish. I love the way I'm reading to Paul. I sink into you. Lost wave found a bed in ocean. We are tumbling fish. Together on a hook. Strung rib to rib, a light tug. You're there in my eye. It is not necessary to touch. You love me without words. Scan my heart with your centre. Dense, pliant, ocean of eyes, rivers of soul. I think I did the three, but I'm going to do this. This is called Europe, and as you all know, of course, that I just come back from Europe, and I know. but Lish didn't go to Europe, and and Lish didn't go to Europe, so that's really sad for her, and that's why I'm reading this.
I get it, Lish. I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. I've never been to Europe. Well, I have. Okay, Europe. I've never been to Europe. I am told the buildings whisper their stories if you listen. And the sun feels different on your skin. I've travelled Australia. I have danced with my brothers and sisters by the night fires, hitched across a desert that kisses the skyline to townships. People have forgotten, you see. They're all exploring Europe, the exotic places. I have run in the rain through stifling heat, across beaches edged with grass, palm trees, and water so clear you can see the coral on the ocean floor without diving in.
That's greenhouse.
I've been happily alone in the Blue Mountains, still not having seen Europe. Slept on many a forest floor, walked through the density of ferns, damp mosses and hundreds of thousands of years of old trees barefoot. For nature is as fragile as it appears to be strong. I have played music on street corners, worked for a pittance picking fruit, feasted on cheese and wine with a friend at the top of a mountain so high the clouds were all around us. I have swum in creek beds and dived through waterfalls, washed in a wood fire bath on 1,000 hectares of bushland looking up to a sky coated with scars. Worked on organic farms for food and a bed, making many friends, some of them from Europe. Slept in teepees under bridges in the snow, the hollow of a dead tree providing shelter from the cold of that white beauty. In the morning, the sky was as blue in contrast to the ground's white. Half-frosted mountain ash looked like paper, ready to fold in on itself if a breeze picked up, and the black wallabies were like rocks hunched at the side of the track. I have explored caves full of dreamtime images. Their intricate patterns leave an impression in your head that's always there. Not many whites are permitted. Now I have a secret name. Still, I have not seen Europe. And I think I'll just give you one poem from Leatherskin, which is I think that was the book that I bought in Belgrave from Leatherskin, and there's a couple. Yeah, okay, here we go. I'm going to give the last poem. It's called Thinking on a Tram. Still a long way to go. I'm only as far as the Albert Park cricket ground and already missing you. For the last half hour at least, attempting to wash away my stories. I look out the window at life. Even Wesley Primary School looks conceited. Its proud spire giving the finger to the sky. St Kilda Junction confuses me every time. I find myself looking at your mobile, willing your soft voice to be on the other end. All these strangers harlequins in suits. The woman next to me swallows silence, squashing headspace. Huge lips that seem to have no face. I find myself wanting to be back at home with you, reading books, facing my poetic insecurities instead of running. You keep me going, holding what I throw away like a cherished prize. I do not understand. Hawthorne Road. I don't remember taking Hawthorne Road last trip. Suppose I'll get off. And thank you.